Hello guys, and welcome back to a new wargame video by me, Vulcan. Today we are playing on Blitz 1v1 and I am playing on the NATO side. This map is probably my most hated map, but considering I've now entered into the Wargame Cup, I decided I need some practice, and it also means that I'm trying out new units at the moment. So that is why I'm bringing you this game today. So yeah, I've been pretty ill this week, so sorry about not getting many videos out. I basically lost my voice completely. It's actually come back now, which is really cool, and I still have a bit of a tickly throat, so if I go quiet for a little bit, I'm probably just coughing off mic. So yeah, I'm still a little bit ill, but I'm well enough to give you guys a nice commentary today. So anyway, as you can see at the beginning, I have basically decided in this game to stay at Foxtrot. Most of the time on this map I tend to move my first command vehicle to Echo because it's a higher value point and it's easier to defend. Because Foxtrot, basically you can be attacked from Hotel, Charlie and Alpha, like they can come down these three like passages, and it can be quite difficult to defend if you get rushed from one side and you haven't really prepared for it. Anyway, I've decided to go for a sort of heavy push strategy into Charlie to secure the 5-point place. Now, the way I'm going to do this, I've got 8 Fuchs. My use of Fuchs in this battle was not great, I'm going to admit. It was kind of shocking, to be honest. Marder 1s, I've actually got Marders in my deck at the moment. I don't normally have them in there, but I wanted to like test out their use and see exactly how well they could do. I've got ITOs. Tow missiles on this map are insane. You can see the amount of open fields there are, and especially this long river. If somebody's got stuff on one side of the river, you can just place tow missiles on the other side and just snipe their units. It's really quite frustrating for the other player if you're against the ATGMs. Here you can see that I've put an FOB in here, and my Sultan with Saracens. Yes, that's right, I've got blowpipes back as well. Just testing out their use, really. Good base defense, very cheap. They cost well, the actual blowpipes cost 5 points and the Saracens cost 5 points, making them 10 overall. So basically I've got 40 points worth of AA there. But the good thing that makes some good AA defense is, or base defense, is that you can spam them, and say I've got 4 here, that's the same amount as maybe a Roland, and I have 4 missiles firing at the same time, and they fire quite quickly, and with the FOB reloading them, they become like quite a force to be reckoned with against many helicopters. They're not very accurate and they don't do much damage, but the amount of missiles they can fire off in big groups is worth having, I guess. Here you can see I still have Marder Rolands in my deck. I've got 2 on the left and 2 on the right. I've got Lux with 2 Marder 1s to go on to the right side to kind of push into Alpha to see what's there, and I've got a Lux and 2 Marder 1s to go to the left side and defend this bridge. Now, basically what I was going to do, like I said, just push into Charlie. These basically, the side forces are to check for rushes. I've got 2 like good recon units to basically hold back behind this push in the middle, and 2 rise patterns just to take care of any heavier armor. Now this Huey was basically another test. It's got Delta Force in it, surprisingly, and it's just a Huey. Basically it's going to travel to this refinery place here, or farm, or whatever it is. I think it's just a farm. Yeah, and I'm going to drop off the Delta Force in there and hopefully hold off their advance with those, well, basically with those guys. Now I played a game before this and it was really good, but what did I do? Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot to save the replay, so I couldn't bring it to you, unfortunately. I was really annoyed, but instead I played this one and it was okay. It's not the best game, but it does sort of bring a lot, you can learn a lot from it, so that's why I'm specifically bringing it to you today. So yeah, basically my Fuchs are moving up as quickly as possible. My Lux are taking positions in this forest here and this forest here. my rise patterns are moving up to the left side to cover the Delta Force, and the Marder 1s are slowly following up behind the Fuchs. Now the rest of my forces are coming up. I've used my Gazelle to scout up on the right side with to see if he's rushing anything. I do see a few units there, but I basically lower the altitude of that helicopter so it doesn't get sniped by any long range AA that I haven't seen yet. Now these cannons have, well, since I've spotted this BRM 1K, I decided to send my cannons straight in for the kill on that. These are throwaway units. I'm not very used to having Gazelle cannons. I never used to have them in my deck, but now I always seem to use them alongside the Gazelle Recon, just so you can snipe units that you may catch out of position. And in this case you can see that I do a lot of damage to his BRM 1K before unfortunately one of my cannons gets shot down. Now his BRM gets away with 2 health bars, while my Fuchs kind of take pounding as I kind of forget about them. But what I decided to do, considering he's pushing his BRM over here, I decided to split up my Fuchs and try and push them towards him, but unfortunately it kind of goes a bit wrong and they start to rout. Now over here you can see my Marder 1s kind of fail against about getting up into Alpha, and I push forwards my Marder 1s on the right to pound the T55 AMs with the help of the Gazelle cannon. Unfortunately his T62Ms have 80 gems on them and they kind of snipe my Marder 1s and make them rout. But what do? I take out his command vehicle with the cannon, which is awesome. So here you can see my Fuchs are routing. When they're routing you can't get the Jaegers out of them, so they're just kind of like passengers waiting for death. And the Fuchs just route back towards the rest of his T55 AMs. Now this guy was kind of like a spam tactician. He loved to use these cheap tanks. It didn't help him much, I'm gonna be honest. It kind of meant he didn't use them properly. He kind of stayed very static. If you're going to use light, cheap tanks, you're going to have to push forwards really to use them properly. Anyway, here you can see I managed to get a couple of Jaegers really close, but one just routs again. To be honest, they're not. They don't have the best morale ever, but they do manage to take out the rest of those tanks over there. And you can see here, like I was saying earlier, my Itos are sniping his tanks from the other side of the river. Anyway, just to make sure of any helicopters that may take advantage of the situation, I move a couple of my Marder Rolands over the bridge to secure the airspace on the other side. I realised he hadn't had any AA throughout the entire battle so far. He probably did it because he's using cheap tanks, which is fair enough, but you should always bring in a certain amount of AA, because if, say, I spammed Apaches at the beginning of this and had 4 Apaches just fly across the map, I would have just owned him completely. Luckily not many people do that, so he kind of gets away with it. Here you can see that I am just bringing in a Sultan. I left enough points so that I could bring in a command vehicle once I secured Charlie. I didn't want to have 2 command vehicles on the field to begin with if I wasn't going to be using them, because it basically gives you too much to defend. Here you can see my rise patterns move up towards these T55s, but unfortunately T55s are actually quite good in close range. So my rise pattern kind of gets picked off and one's left over to try and take out the rest. Probably should have just moved him back across the bridge, but after he gets hit by 2 shells he routs anyway. So he comes back to me and that's all very well. So here you can see my Gazelle's just waiting there. I've basically decided to move these Marder Rolands back across the bridge with the threat of these T62Ms. I don't really want them to get any more free kills. So with the command vehicle coming in kind of undefended at the moment, which probably was a bad idea if he had any helicopters come around the back and snipe that. But I move another Marder Roland to this back bush here, so I have basically 3-way coverage of where I was going to put the command vehicle. Anyway, here you can see that my Ito's again simply sniping his tanks from across the river, and there's not much he can do about that because the T-55s don't have a very accurate long-range gun. Now I move my looks forwards again to make sure that I can see what's going on. Once I get these Itos reloaded, I can then again shoot at his tanks once I spot them. Here you can see that I send this Gazelle cannon to basically try and take out these T-55AMs on the right. Unfortunately, the T-55AMs do have machine guns on top of them, so the Gazelle cannon kind of gets shot down with the help of the FJB that they use. Now FJB, I don't know why, but people are using them a lot at the moment. They are basically special forces, I think, but with AA missiles, and it's just weird. But you see here that my Delta Force just absolutely own a couple of squads at FJB, so even though they are special forces, I don't think that they're specifically meant for infantry fighting. If I just go to neutral quickly, I don't normally do this, but just to check his units, you see that they actually have 9 accuracy and 3 HE power, so I'm not sure why they lost so badly to Delta Force, even though my Delta Force are in cover. Anyway, if I go back to the normal map mode that I use to commentate, you can see here that my Marder 1's pushed up into this forest here, and at very close range they actually do a lot of damage to these T-62s, and he's brought over, he's basically quite a big threat now. He's pushed into this forest here, but I can see it with my Gazelle, which is just sitting here. If he had AA, I would have been at such a disadvantage at this point, because he would have been able to probably snipe down my Gazelle with, say, a book, and then I wouldn't have so much vision over his troop movements. Now I do have this Delta Force here, which was useful throughout the entire game, just held out there for ages until eventually my opponent decides to take that out once and for all. But here you can see this Gazelle just survives for the whole game, so it doesn't really make a difference that he takes out those Delta Force in the end. Anyway, finally my resupply arrives, and I basically move that to get tow missiles back for my Itos. But with Charlie secure and Foxtrot secure, I have a lot of points going on here. He's only got 3 points worth of command, and I've got 6, so at this point I'm getting double the supply he is for units reinforcements. This Huey here, you're probably wondering what the fuck this is doing, but basically I left it there so it could just watch out for any movement down this road on the right side of the map. Now what he does is he resupplies his T-62s and moves his T-55s into here, and then decides it's time for a push. So he pushes 7 tanks across a single bridge. Now, if I wasn't smart, then it wouldn't matter. But considering I know exactly what's coming because of my recon, I just line up my Itos and start sniping the hell out of his units. And I don't know why, but he tries to out-snipe Itos with T-62s, and he does get 1 hit, which is fair enough. I run out of missiles, so I kind of have to pull my Itos back as quickly as possible to make sure that they don't get hit. Now, in the meantime, these Fuchs that I brought forwards have Jaegers in them, and they are here to prevent him coming up over this road towards my Lux and Gazelle. But what he does decide to do, which is quite cool, I thought this was a reasonably good strategy for him. I don't know if he knew exactly where my command armor was, but he probably assumed it would be in this forest here, so he moves it across the riverbank. And the thing about this map is, if I just quickly swivel the map round, you can see there is actually a ridge here, and it makes his vehicles all like basically disappear behind the ridge while he moves it across here, so that he can just jump up here and attack my command vehicle straight away, which I thought was an admirable strategy. But I'd already thought one step ahead, and here comes the Apache. Oh yeah, Apache coming in. And with my Super Chinook coming in as well to resupply these ITOs as quickly as possible. With the hemped out of supply, I basically decided it was an emergency and decided to bring in these Super Chinooks. And my Apache arrives just on time and starts attacking his T-55s before he gives them the final order to start attacking my main sort of area where my command vehicle is. Now with the ITOs reloaded and ready to go, they also start firing on this T-55 Advance, which ultimately ends up taking out the rest of the tanks. And there goes his 4 T-55s. Now I turn my Apache round to try and take out this PT-90, which is it's a reasonably good recon unit. I like using them a lot on packed, but short work is made of that with the Apache. And then I turn him back to take out the T-62s. And that is why you need AA. I brought in one Apache and it pretty much turned that completely around. If I did not have the Apache there, his T-55s probably would have got towards my command vehicle. I was thinking of moving my command vehicle back at that point, so it wouldn't have been that he got my command vehicle, it would have been that he pushed me out of Charlie, which would have given him instantly an advantage on the supply front. Anyway, what he did also do wrong is that he left behind his supply trucks. He didn't let them catch up and gave them to me. So basically making sure that my Super Chinook isn't in any danger, I use his supply trucks to basically reload from ITOs from now on. And I'm not too concerned about that. Now on the left, he's using more T-55 AMs, which ultimately get hidden by this ridge here, to push up against my left force, which is basically just a Lux and Armada. The good thing about Lux and Armada is that they are actually reasonably good against light armor. If I look on here, you can see that the accuracy and AP power is 1, and well, accuracy is 3 and AP power is 1, and that is good enough to penetrate the 3 front armor and 1 side armor of the T-55. So they're going to do a lot of damage with each shot, and yeah, eventually take them out. And I did take out 3 units there with just a Lux and a Marder, which is insane. Anyway, you can see here at last he's bringing in some anti-aircraft, but I've already spotted it. And knowing that that's there, I decide to push my Apache on the right side instead and attack these T-55 AMs, which are sitting so blatantly on the side of a hill. Now with the ITOs also reloaded, I decide to push them forwards to try and get a sniping position on these strops so that I can take them out, so my Apache has free reign over the entire battlefield. Here you can see a T-62 which is kind of trying to get back across the river from the original rape from my ATGM Jeeps. And here, as he starts to move his strops towards my Apache, which he's realised has gone over to the right side, I start to attack his units with ITOs. Unfortunately, even though these ITOs have 10 accuracy, they miss all of the shots they fire. But my Apache's not so unlucky and manages to take out the T-62 and one of the T-45 or T-55 AMs, no problemo. Here you can see I've brought forward the Colossus again, but this time I decide to push them forwards over to the Delta Force, because the Delta Force are running low on missiles. And without missiles, they're not very effective against vehicles, and if anyone rushes them with vehicles, they're going to be pretty stuffed. So, with these Colossus nearby, they quickly reload the AT guns, or the AT rockets of the Delta Force, which is insane. I didn't realise that they actually reloaded that quickly. Obviously, the AT missile of the Delta Force is not assumed to be something that needs a lot of ammo, but it does do a lot of damage, as you can see. 10 accuracy and 12 AP power. Pretty good missile, if you ask me. Now over here you can see my Marder 1 still alive and watching out for me, and you can see that he's bringing in another 2 T-55s to basically reinforce the 2 T-55s he already has. But my Marder unfortunately gets taken out before he could finish off one of the T-55s. And with 4 shots in the hull, he kind of just explodes, which is understandable. Anyway, my Gazelle is still watching out on the right side. I've got these 2 empty Fuchs, which are the Fuchs for these Jaegers, sitting in a bush over here, again, to watch this road for any flanking maneuvers. And my Apache's back at base, getting more Hellfire missiles, and the Super Chinook is refueling. So, yeah, at this point, I am winning by 600 points, roughly. Yeah, no, probably about 530 points. Anyway, I've got 1,198 points. He's got 678, so work it out yourself. But I decide to, with the T-62s gone, push my looks back across to basically recon that side of the river. And with the Fuchs down here, I decide to send my Huey on a suicide mission to find out what's on the right. Which was basically just what I already knew. So, unfortunately, the Huey didn't do a great job, but hell, I knew that nothing was really coming from over there. And these Fuchs would make sure that I saw anything coming down there. So anyway, with the T-55 pushing across the river, I am not happy with that at all. So what do? I react to it by bringing in a Lux and a couple more Marders. Now you're probably wondering, why are you bringing in Marders against tanks? Well, actually Marders are really good. They're very underestimated. They do have 2 front and 2 side armor, which is more side armor than T-55s have, and 1 less front armor. And they also have that amazing autocannon, which can do a lot of damage to light tanks. And I think with Marders in my deck, it was almost the perfect counter to this guy's strategy. With people who use light tanks, if they come across anyone who uses a lot of autocannons, they're going to lose. It's as simple as that. In the middle here, you can see that my ITOs are basically trying to take out these SPWs before they could drop off their Motorschützen. But the Motorschützen gets out and starts attacking my Delta Force, which is being basically repaired by the Koloss, but unfortunately they don't have that many supplies left, and the Delta Force eventually run out of resupply and fight to the death like awesome men. And they take out all the APCs in the process, which is completely awesome. Check out this rocket. Look how accurate that is. It's amazing. Anyway, unfortunately they die to the Motorschützen, which rout after killing them, which makes no sense to me. But like, yay, we won! Let's rout! Anyway, yeah, you can see these Motorschützen are actually really good at taking out special forces. That's probably one of their main uses, actually. I use them on my Russian deck occasionally. Because, look, if you see, they have 9 accuracy and 2 HE power. Great for taking on enemy infantry. But you have to have a reasonable amount of them to take on special forces. You can see how much damage my Delta Force did with only 10 men versus their 40. Outnumbered 4 to 1, and they still managed to take down over half of them before they died. Anyway, with that done, you can see that I've brought my Super Chinook back over with, well, sort of knowing that the AA is going to get sniped by the ITOs if it comes too close. And my Hemp's empty, just sort of sitting there. I just forgot really to take it back, because what I was doing at this time was pushing on the left side, and you can see that, as I said, my Marder 1s are ripping the armour off the T-55s without the Marder 1s taking a single shot. Actually, one of these took one, but the T-55s are just not accurate enough. You can see they have like 7 accuracy, okay, it's alright, but Marder 1s have 3 accuracy, but they fire so many rounds that it doesn't matter. They have autocannons, and with the constant firing, they adjust their aim very quickly. And you can see that's just what they do, and manage to take out 3 of the tanks before they take out 2 of my Marders. Now with the one left, I'm not going to let him get away, so I decided to push straight up with my Lux and Marders. On the left here, you can see I brought round some Cobras. These were eventually going to go and snipe his command vehicle and Golf if I could, because of his lack of AA. But seeing that they are approaching my Marder 1s and Looks, I'm not too concerned because Marder 1s have autocannons and so do the Looks, so they can take on helicopters very easily. But also with the supply vehicles that I've captured, the Marder 1s are in a very good position here to take out both of these Mi-24Ds, which are basically overly expensive for taking out these units. I don't know why he sent them in against HGM vehicles, or autocannon vehicles, but it's crazy, and it loses in the game. And with those last 60 points gone, I win. And that was a good game. Very action-packed, to be honest. A lot to learn. You could say that you're not supposed to really send helicopters close range to autocannon units. And also, my use of Fuchs was kind of a bit meh, to say the least. I shouldn't have put my Looks across, or Fuchs across open fields against tanks. That was probably a bad idea. And he should have had mobile AA to complement his tank push, because then my Apache would have been useless, and he probably would have succeeded about pushing me out of the middle of the map. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm glad to be commentating again. I will be bringing you DayZ this weekend, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.